15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the Lay Poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
Oh man, this is what's up. I like this little vibe right now. Season 3, Nickel City Crew in the building, episode 1. Holla at the crew. DT, what's good, man? I am happy to be back. We, again, as I kind of closed out season 2 with you guys, and DT did as well with me, we're going to take a little break. We still have to take some decompression. That this last season was really, really hard, but a line in the sand has been drawn. We are on the new league year. 2023 is officially upon us, as you see all of the different crazy transactions going on across the league, and we'll get into a lot of that today. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Season 3. I could have never even imagined it once I started a couple of years ago. What's up, DT? Holla at the crew. Holla at the crew. We started 1 year ago. Now look at us now. Season 3. What's up?
Let's go.
Let's
go. How we doing, Rob? What's up, Nickel City Crew? We're out here for sure. Season 3. They say third time's a charm. So maybe our third season is the year we get the parade and everything else we wanted, Rob. So let's go off of that. That can be obviously will be our theme as we go through of getting that parade, getting it done. But third time's a charm. Already a little a busy week for the organization and the fans. So looking forward to seeing what we can do more, throughout this offseason.
Yeah, man, we're ramping up, and the draft will be upon us before we know it next month. I wanted to kind of open the episode tonight to kind of get everybody caught up on. I mean, it's season 3, man. We've come a long way, DT. A year anniversary just passed. You've been with me for at least a good 6-7 months now. Solid. How was Florida, man? How was the trip down there, man? You went down there right after your birthday. Holla at us. What was Florida like, man?
It's a good time, man. Florida. It always makes you think why I still live up in Buffalo. That's for sure. Just beautiful weather. Just nice to I'm sure you see a little more obviously of the sunshine down in Charlotte and whatnot, but just changes the vibe, man. Just being out there and you see the sun, and every day you just kind of have a different different vibe about it. Great time, good group of friends down there. But
now actually, I heard that you came back. Now I heard that you came back though with something a little bit extra. Then you went down there, a little bit more baggage.
Exactly. Got the COVID-19 down there, but maybe I had it before. I don't know, but I guess some people would say that. I guess that's one of the best things you can get from a bachelor party.
That's definitely some baggage that is better than some other baggage.
But I was grateful to feel better, get better through that, and it is what it is. So, but overall, good to be there and rocking. How you doing, Rob?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. It's funny because we're happy that you're back in good health. I joke, but when you had told me that you caught it down there, you know what I mean. I was like, just worried about you, making sure that you were okay and how you handled it. But you ate it like a warrior, true dump truck, style, like just Rick Ross, that energy, and you sloughed it off and you got back to full health. So I'm really happy that you're feeling good, man. I have been going through just like a whirlwind down here in Charlotte. It's been wild for me. I got T-boned a few Tuesdays ago. We're going to release this episode actually today on Sunday because I know that over at Bills Mafia Network there, Buffalo fan base, they do have somebody else that releases on Monday. So we released it today, man. I got T-Bone DT a couple
Man.
Tuesdays ago, and like I was just picking up my youngest King, picking up Quincy from school, and thank the good Lord that he was on the other side of the car when I got hit, and a young girl, just ran a red light, and for whatever reason she was in a real hurry, and she popped us good, man, and totaled my car. So like I've just been like, it's been a whirlwind down here in Charlotte, and anybody that's been in a car accident, Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, you guys know that can be traumatic. So obviously my first thoughts were, to my son and making sure that he was okay and there was no, problems or injuries with him. And then after that, man, it was just the wreckage and just, kind of picking up the pieces after that. So it's been wild down here, man. It's not all sunny in Charlotte. So I know that you guys got the gray skies up there in the 716 up there in Western New York, man. It's not all sunny, man. Everything kind of just sometimes it's up and down, just like the Bills offseason, man. It's just kind of sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, man. So we're trucking through, man. I'm so grateful that everybody was safe.
Yeah, 100%, Rob, and glad to hear that you and Quincy were okay, and that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah,
So you got to keep head on a swivel out there, and it just grateful that everybody's okay from that, and move
yeah,
on, and everything's got a little bit of a lesson into it, right? And
that's
take
right.
take things grateful, and really appreciate life a little more after stuff like that, for sure.
Absolutely, and one of the situations as we start to get into it, and dig into the Bills offseason is you're absolutely right. You want to appreciate some of the things that you have. And one of the things that have been on my mind is just, how are we, how much are we appreciating 17? And you had kind of closed out season 2, kind of letting everybody know and putting them on notice again that this is a generational talent that we have here in Buffalo. And DT, to be honest, I'm looking at this team and I'm just making sure that we're crossing all the T's, we're dotting all the I's to make sure that we don't waste his years, because he's a really valuable piece. And one of the valuable pieces on the defense, obviously with Leslie Frazier taking a year off for football, is that Jordan Poyer is back in the building, man. You know that I'm
Yeah,
happy about him
hell yeah.
coming back to the Bills, man. Jordan Poyer, it's a surprise. Obviously, a lot of us thought that he was going to be headed out of town, and he had that podcast and made his his comments about the state taxes and down in Florida, and a lot of people thought he was going right there to Miami. He's back with the Bills, DT. That's a big deal to have Hyde and Poyer back there on the back end. It's kind of a situation where you can exhale just a little bit. There's been a lot of questions about the defense and different things like that with Tremaine being gone now and Leslie Frazier, as I mentioned. This kind of okay, it kind of lets you breathe a little bit easier, because we all know that Hyde and Poyer, are they're the backbone of this defense.
It's huge, Rob. I mean, in the beginning of this offseason, we kind of got the vibe that, we might not see Edmonds or Poyer back, and
Yeah.
you to get your head around losing both of them was kind of tough. But then you defaulted. Well, if there was one to stay, it'd probably be Edmonds, right? Because he's younger, drafted him. All about draft and
Hmm.
develop,
Yep.
and that
Hmm.
type of
Hmm.
vibe. But good for 49 going and getting the bag. I mean, we were never going to give him that type
Hell
of
no,
money.
hell no.
I mean, I'm
Hell
not
no.
saying he doesn't deserve it by any means, but I knew, we just couldn't string that, this year especially. So that's just part of the business and something you got to watch out. And then, yeah, I in a way, I kind of made it. Was this a little gamemanship by being in the Bills, Rob? I mean, was this a little gamemanship the whole
I
time of Poyer talking about state taxes, Miami? Then the Raiders were in the mix from reports, and then all of a sudden, the last day, it was Poyer back to Buffalo, and it seemed like the deal got done quick. So I don't know. It
I
makes
don't
me
know.
think like this might have been the deal the whole time, Rob.
Well, I do think from this, I don't know about gamesmanship, but I do feel that the Bills had a line, and Brandon Beane had already communicated that to Drew Rosenhaus, regardless of the fact that he'd come out. Remember he was at training camp,
Yeah.
last year, and he was out there and he was trying to campaign for his guy a little bit and show his face. I think that the Bills had a line. I think that they weren't going to cross it, whether it been with Edmonds along with Poyer, and they just kind of gave him the freedom to say, "Hey, listen, you be a free agent. You've never gotten this opportunity. You didn't have much of a playing role on Cleveland. You come here, we strike gold, and you're an all pro. Go out, see what you're worth. See what anybody, kind of what the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson, which is a little bit different because I think there's some collusion with
Yeah.
the owners going on there. But, you know, listen, test your market, see what it is. And I think that it was a situation where it may not have been as sweet as, he thought that it could have been for, a 32-year-old. He missed some time last year, elbow injury. I know he's been extremely consistent, and that's been one of his highest qualities, him and Hyde back there. But I just don't think that he got the contract that he was hoping for, and him and Drew House were hoping for. And I think it was a situation where maybe not hat in hand coming back and begging, but more of a thing like, hey, you remember that shit that you brought up a little while ago? Okay, that all right, let's talk about that. And maybe the Bills had to sweeten the pot a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the combination with Hyde also just makes them more, makes them who they are. Obviously Poyer was 13-1 with the Bills last year without Hyde at all.
Yeah.
Well, for the first, 2 games, but 13-1 when he played. And so
Poyer,
say, well, he was still good without him.
That's crazy.
Still good without him. But what makes them so dangerous is that, that chemistry, back there together, and Hyde kind of getting obviously off a tough injury, but you look at that as an older player, a year off, right? A year off of not getting hit every week and, not getting, banged up like that as Poyer did. But, they can come up and have a good offseason back together, getting that same cohesive, ready next year. That's what really makes him dangerous. So as much as Jordan Poyer was good this year, I think coming back with Micah Hyde is going to be, take it up a level to kind of push it. They are getting older. They are maybe losing a step. Injuries might linger a little more for them, but I think coming back together is going to help that, in the whole cohesiveness, and take a little off them individually to come together as two and, kind of put their powers together as one
man.
strong
They're like
unit,
Power
right?
Rangers.
So,
they've always been better
yeah.
together. I mean, it is a crazy stat. You're still in my notes because the Bills were 13-1 last year with Poyer on the field. So it just speaks to his value. And kind of to my point, I feel bad for him as a professional athlete. I'm not one, but as a looking at a professional athlete, they only have so much time to maximize on those contracts. They only have so much time to maximize on that guaranteed money. Again, that's one of the main squabbling points with Lamar Jackson. He doesn't want to put his body at risk if he's not going to get the guaranteed money when Deshaun Watson could. So I understand it. Like when anytime that the player is trying to get what he's worth, I'm definitely free market, and I understand it and I support it. And I feel bad that he didn't get the deal that he wanted to get in respects to what he probably envisioned or what Drew Rosenhaus may have sold him last year. But hey, I'm happy that he's back. Let's try to go get that ring. Obviously, him and Hyde together, as we've already stated, that you said, I mean, they're just better together. They're just like combined like Voltron. There's something special in that defensive backfield together. So we'll see what it does for the Bills. I know that it's a big deal to have them both back again. Leslie Frazier's gone. All eyes on McDermott. We've already talked about it, and we'll talk about it ad nauseum. I'm trying to figure out what does Tremaine Edmonds' exit really mean? Because listen, I know he had his supporters, and I know he's got a lot of people that are in his corner. And like you said, DT, I'm happy he got his bag. I don't know what Chicago was smoking. They signed 2 middle linebackers at the exact same position on the exact same day, and one was for the fraction of the price. So I don't know why you needed to do it, but you did it, and I'm happy for him to get his money. I don't know what we're losing. I do know that we're losing something with coverage, and obviously it's going to be a situation where we have to either wait for the rest of free agency to play out, DT, or we have to see what the draft does. I'm just not as worried. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off, and I'm sure there's plenty of Bills Mafia Nickel City crew that'll tell me I'm crazy because of how rangy he is.
Yeah, and it was kind of split down the middle, 50-50 with him, right? Half the people were, didn't like him, half the people liked him. We were kind of critical in the offseason of like, all right, like you got to earn this nickname, you got to earn this Savage name. Like,
you gotta,
Savage.
I remember that.
People.
Yeah.
And he did all right. I think he had some.
Oh no, he had his best year. He had his best year
in that regard. And like you said, the coverage is huge. I've been hearing it on GR the past 2 weeks, and the difference of when he's on and off the field, like what these teams did to us, in the middle of the field, and that's big. When you're trying to build a pass rush to get to these quarterbacks and force quicker passes. Those are going to be the passes going across the middle, the crossers, the short game. You need a strong middle linebacker to defend that. But draft and develop the Bills. They got Bernard, even though he's not a middle backer per se, but there's a lot of production and versatility he can bring. He's not. Yep, brought back Dotson. Not anywhere near the size of Tremaine Edmonds, but they can kind of have that elusiveness of getting across and making coverage that become almost positionless football, if you will. Even if you got to bring almost like a safety type player down to fill that linebacker role when it comes to pass coverage. So, go back to the end of the draft board, get yourself somebody like Draymond Edmonds, and just hope you can develop him as well, get him cheap. And there's some decent looks as we look through the draft when you look at middle backer. But, now that's why we pay Matt Milano. This is why we
Right.
extend Matt
Yeah.
Milano. Like,
Yeah.
pick up the
No,
slack,
they
get it
made their
going. Like,
choice. I
you're
mean, yeah,
first
they
team
made
All
their
Pro.
choice. Yeah.
You don't play the same position, but you're going to have to make up for some stuff that 49 leaves.
Absolutely. I mean, the Bills, Brandon Beane and the brass, they told us exactly what they thought and who they chose, and they chose Matt Milano, and that's obviously a great choice. They paid a premium for Tremaine, and obviously they traded back up into the first round the year that we got Josh, and draft and develop is all it sounds great and it's a great moniker, but sometimes you just run out of time and you run out of runway, and that's kind of what happened with Josh Allen's deal. And, all of the luxuries that you have with the salary cap and the way that you're able to massage it is just accentuated by the fact that you're paying a rookie quarterback who is the most premium position, will cost you the most money and the most percentage of your cap. And when you're paying him on a rookie contract, you're just really playing with house money, and we've run out of runway. So we'll see and get an opportunity now to see, Brandon Beane do his gymnastics and his salary cap gymnastics. One of those moves that he's kind of it was a little bit surprising in respects of the money, but it wasn't too crazy or anything like that. It looks like it could be a 1-year deal, and then they have some outs. Deontay Hardy, formerly Deontay Harris, DT, he is in the building. I didn't know much about him in respects to his name. Like when they said Deontay Harris and now Hardy, it didn't click. But boy, when I saw those YouTube clips of him, and I was like, oh, that's that dude from the Saints. I was like, I do remember this cat. And immediately it was Joe Buck in my mind and listening to him because obviously he was the NFC voice with Troy Aikman. And I'm like, oh, okay, yep. I remember this cat a few Sundays after Bills games and different things like that. You're watching the 4:00 window and listen, speed, shifty. He's got some wiggle to him. And like, I don't know, man, did the Bills just find their new gadget guy? Because obviously, again, another signal to that would be the fact that they unfortunately they released Isaiah McKenzie, and Zeke and him kind of did the exact same thing. And I don't think Brandon Beane wanted the redundancy, and he's going in a new direction. And I'm intrigued, man. They've got my attention, DT. They've got my attention with this cat.
I'd agree, Robin. You say speed kills, man. Speed kills in this league, and they're trying. I feel like they're trying to mimic the Tyreek Hill look. Like, I mean, this guy's got a long way to go to become Tyreek Hill, but that type of guy, a guy that can just burn it up and get it going, and that all comes with the progression of Josh Allen's career of having to, if there's going to have to be times where you just need a guy to dump it off to, gadget guy, but this guy can go deep too from what it looks like.
He's run all the routes. He's outside slot.
Exactly.
He's got experience
but
everywhere.
Doesn't have a lot of receiver work in his career, been injured a lot of it. So that's obviously been something, was an all-pro returner, when back in 19. So definitely flashes of good things. Maybe it's like a Poyer situation where he just needs another chance. Not that good in Cleveland, comes here and starts popping off and shows his true talent. And the speed's there. If he can stay healthy, I think they'll find a way to utilize him and get him rolling. And as much as we were kind of, we like Zeke and everything he brought, but the stick was up. It was what, 4 years now in, and there was flashes, and then this year was the year to, all right, like, see what you can do, and he just really didn't get anything
too
done.
much dumb shit, you know what I mean? And I'll give honor, I'll give respect where respect's due, you know what I mean? Because my boy Jay Spence the King over there at Buffalo Rumblings was never a big Zeke fan, and we would go back and forth because I love Zeke. Like, I'm a personality guy, and I love personality, and and I love the flair, and I love the swag and all the other stuff. And there's a place for that for sure. One of the funniest moments I remember of Zeke is that Bills Behind the Blue or whatever, little series that they had, and like they were doing it on the night that he was on America's Got Talent, and that was funny. And he brought the pizza in, and they're like, like waiting for hours, like when is your part? Like, you're like, oh, it's coming right up, and it was just funny to watch him interact with those guys. And he calls himself the face of the franchise, and obviously Josh Allen is. So it's just that sarcasm just makes it so much funnier. And I like Zeke. the jig was up, man. Like he just did a lot of dumb shit. I remember the one play that he ran out of bounds, and then that like eliminated a receiver for Josh, and then we got a pick on that one play. I can't remember if that was Minnesota or not, but there was a lot of just dumb plays where he would just kind of hurt the team a little bit. And obviously that week one, that was a weird pass where it went right through him against the Rams. That wasn't on his, on him or Josh, but it just missed him. But there was just a lot of just dumb plays from Zeke that I think you just said it perfectly, man. The jig was just kind of up where's the production for all of the bravado?
Yeah, 100%. And hopefully, Hardy comes in and, gives us that pop if we put him in the return game. I think Hines was a good returner, but not really on the punt side as much. So maybe he'll come in and spark that punt side of return game a little more. And, if he can come in and even give, what Isaiah McKenzie did snap-wise this year, that'd be good enough, coming in for this offense. And still have Jamison Crowder under contract. I don't know. I'm not 100% confident he's, this might be a cut situation, but,
right.
Still out there. And if he's back healthy again and, does kind of what we needed to do last year, and him and Hardy kind of combo in that Swiss Army knife type of role. But they got away from when they were using McKenzie in the years past, like on those jet sweeps and stuff like that. I didn't really see a lot of those this last year, and those always seemed to be kind of productive, when they did those. So, maybe we can get into something like that again, a little running back slot combo,
And you're killing it right now, DT, because what does that lead to the other question? Because what you're really saying is asking another question is, what is the difference between Dorsey again and Dable? And I can keep, beating a dead horse if you want to. And I continue, I'll keep doing it because I'm just worried about the young man. I don't know if he's ready for this job. Next year, we're going to find out a lot about him. We're going to find a lot out about his scheme. The way that he matches up. Where was the window dressing? You heard me and Nate Geary the weekend for your birthday talk about it. Where was the window dressing? Where are the screen passes? Where are zero trick plays last year? I heard that on WGR. I thought they were joking, but then I found out that they were not joking, that there was literally zero trick plays. Dable was good for that kind of stuff. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. It was a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and he's, licking his wounds from the Super Bowl in that respect. And then we're kind of going back and forth. And he was like, what are you guys doing up there? I don't have the best answer for him. And I didn't have the best answer for him. But one of the things that I'm looking at is Dorsey still, because what are you accentuating? How are you bringing out the best in your guys? I can't just have Josh put on a cape, and I also can't just have him launching bombs all day. I need some nuance. Where's the stuff? Where's the extra shit? You understand what I'm talking about, DT? Like, where is the stuff that makes the defense think twice? I watched a Super Bowl where Kansas City ran the same play, and all they did was press the R trigger like you would on your Madden game, and they flipped the field, and both times on a fake motion, the wide receiver was wide open both times, and all they did was flip the field and flip the formation. And it's just like, I don't have that creativity under Ken Dorsey. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not saying that it's not there. I have not seen it, and I used to see that all the time with Dable. I saw it all the time.
Yeah, and a good example is like the Dolphins. Literally, their defense was to zero blitz us every play, and there was no, like you said, window dressing to get around that. So hopefully, Hardy coming in can bring that different gauge and different speed. And this guy's hungry too. He had a good kind of start to his career, and then hasn't really been able to get on the field since with injury. So he's eager to kind of rewrite the ship and and show he's worthy to be in this league. And what better way to come in with a great opportunity here with the best quarterback in the world. So that's how I see it. And this guy's going to be hungry to prove himself. And I think it's a good deal for Dorsey and the guys to, like, all right, now we got this little weapon. Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, I agree. I just it just seems to me that I'm starting to get a little bit restless, and because of that, it's kind of a more like, what have you done for me lately? The old Janet Jackson song, what have you done for me lately? And I'm kind of looking at Dorsey that way. You already know how I feel about McDermott, and I'm definitely looking at him that way for this year, because I'm a little bit concerned with the fact that we're a little bit too predictable. And I don't want to be predictable on offense. On defense, I guess it's a little bit of a different story. If you're effective, Sean McDermott's defenses have been extremely effective throughout the regular season and helping out the offense. But obviously, we've already talked about what happens in those big game situations where he kind of changes his stripes and he kind of reverts to a little bit more of a shell look where he's a little bit more conservative. So again, for him, there's no place to hide for him. He'll be calling the plays maybe, or maybe he'll ship that off to one of those assistants that he has. But to me, it's his baby, it's his defense. So I'll be watching him the same way. But on offense, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm hoping that Hardy can come in and that Dorsey can use him. That's the real thing for me, is can Dorsey use these weapons that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane are getting ready to pick up in the draft. As we proceed,
I don't think it's over yet, though, Rob. With the weapon-wise offensively, I mean, you see Brandon Cooks get moved yesterday, and Odell's still out there, Ezekiel Elliott's out there. There's still guys that can.
Brandon Beane said he wants a big back. He said that the other day at the press conference. He's got about $9 million or so in change to work with. Obviously, they'll need about $3 million or so for the rookies and injury settlements and different things like that as things pop up in the offseason, but replacement players. But it'll be tight, man. I mean, he can work some more magic. It'll be tight, but he definitely said that it was not over, and he let the Bills fans know that it was not over in respects to free agency. So maybe you're right. Maybe there's something coming down the pipe. I don't know, man. OBJ. I think he was mad on Twitter or something like that, saying they're trying to pay box wine prices for, for the best wine. So I don't think he's going to come cheap. I think his ship may have sailed here in Buffalo. We'll see.
Yeah, and then is Beane under the same mindset as we are, as us, you and me, and Nickel City, and most fans of, all right, I'm gonna get here's some gadgets with the money we could get. Right. Now I want to see these guys being utilized, as opposed to last year I went and got Naeem Hines and we never saw him, So this year it is Beane coming in there and being like, all right, now I want to see you use. Yeah. I went to the grocery store.
Yeah,
I got
this stuff. I
need you to cook it up now. Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to go bad in the refrigerator. So
absolutely, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the things that we'll be looking at, and I know that we'll be talking about it ad nauseum throughout the offseason as we approach kickoff for the 2023 year. Is what's up with Beane and the defense? Excuse me, what's up with McDermott and the defense? How is he leading it? There's no place else for him to hide, and then offensively, Dorsey, you only get 1 year to say that it was my first year. that was last year. You know what I mean? Now I'm looking for him to make adjustments and to make changes, in a positive way for the offense.
And while I got this actually on my mind too, I was talking to Big Ben last week, Big Ben from our tailgate. Absolutely. And he showed me a stat that was pretty eye-popping, I thought, of last year, Bills were 29th in the league in yards after catch, which they've been on the lower end of that, since really Josh's career start. But the final 4 teams in the playoffs were all top 5 in yards after catch. So,
wow.
It's basically Josh threw for all his yards literally through those yards.
Through the air.
Definitely. So that's like it's somebody to create a little separation, a little bit of yards after catch, and be able to have that Tyreek Hill type of vibe. Hopefully will work out and move us up the charts and when it comes to that too. So
yeah, I'm all with it. I mean, I definitely love diversity and I love speed, and I definitely love all the window dressing and different things. I just remember the Super Bowl and how distinct that was, how wide open they were, and I just you have to give props to Andy Reid. He's a great play caller, the same way that we've got a few of them in the league right now. And we'll see what Dorsey can do as we shift and as we begin to wrap up. Free agency has kind of been, because of the Bills' situation with Josh Allen's contract and the different types of restructures they've had to do to kind of just get under the cap and then have some operating space. We signed Connor McGovern from Dallas. He's going to come in and play guard for us. I'm not sure left or right side, but it looks like him and Bates will figure that out, along with the offensive line coach there with Kramer. Tyrell Dodson comes back to the Bills, as we talked about earlier. Dane Jackson, along with Cam Lewis, are back in the secondary at corner position. Looks like the Bills are bringing both of them back. I think they tendered Jackson or something like that. So it looks like they have an opportunity to continue to keep some depth. Obviously, we want Trey White to come back to full strength, and we're hoping that he can. But in the meantime, you want to make sure that you've got some depth back there. So I wouldn't even be surprised in the draft if they target that as well. Tyler Matakevich, he's back as well for the special teams, and then the Bills bring in a backup quarterback when Case Keenum leaves, in one of Josh's good buddies, Kyle Allen, who I know he works out with, with Palmer out there with, I think it's Darnold. Those guys all came in the league together, and they all our boys, and I guess all the wags, the wives and girlfriends, they all hang out and stuff like that. So Josh Allen gets his little buddy with Kyle Allen coming in, who hasn't had much success, but hasn't really had much time on the field either throughout his NFL career. What do you think about the signings? That's it's not like I guess it's not Mario Williams and everybody's down there at the stadium and waiting for the jersey release and the press conference, but it's something with Hardy along with McGovern coming in. What are your thoughts of the Bills and who are they able to retain?
Yeah, I mean, Beane played with what he had, right? And I think those guys were crucial. Dane Jackson had some questionable, situations last year, and Cam Lewis, might have been a single-handedly game.
Literally against Minnesota, he literally put his hand on the ball and helped Justin Jefferson beat us.
Literally single-hand loss of a 1 seed. So. Yes, but who else? We'd have to go out and fill those spots somewhere. So keep people familiar with the building, and you're going to rely on Trey White getting back to full health, Kyer Elam taking a step up in his second year. So these guys won't have to kind of be what they had to be last year with all the forefront. And we saw success with Dane Jackson, a little bit with Cam Lewis, but definitely with Dane Jackson on the year before when they had Trey White, and had Levi Wallace, and Dane Jackson was able to come in and play that kind of third fiddle. A little stronger. Last year he was in the limelight, kind of got cooked a little bit, but hopefully he gets back to that original, as we see from the year before. And Connor McGovern
coming in, it's a good deal, because now we don't have to draft a guard early, right, DT?
Yeah,
I mean,
if they were thinking still in the mocks, they're still kind of flirting with those, which that's about the most boring.
Well, maybe not early, right? Maybe not first or second round. You don't have to do it, right?
Yeah, but it's probably one of the most boring draft, to draft an offensive guard. It's like, oh man, not even a tackle or anything. But I think when you think Dallas, you always think they got a good line. All 5 across are usually, Pro Bowlers or all pro. Absolutely. And McGovern came in again with some injury, second chance, come here to Buffalo. Can't be worse than Roger Saffold.
No, hell no. Hell no.
That's and I think Bates will be back, as rolling again, and we got to see improvement from the tackles as they go in, and it's there, the size is there. But you got to protecting 17's got to be the number one priority. I think McGovern was good for the money we got him for. We'll see what they do in the draft, but I really like that. Before I thought Poyer and Edmonds were gone, and we really weren't doing before they restructured anybody. And I saw Connor McGovern. I was happy with that. So I'm glad they kind of built on that, and got some secondary help. And Dotson, I think, is huge with Edmonds being out, and Tyler.
He'll get a chance. He'll get a chance. Everybody goes to training camp. Everybody gets a helmet. Everybody gets a dorm room. And you go earn it. That's one of the great meritocracies of sports is you go earn your shit. Nobody's going to give you anything, and I love that. So Dotson wants a shot. I'm sure they'll draft somebody as well, and he gets a shot. Edmonds will be tough to replace, and I'm not trying to poo-poo on that or anything like that. I know we've joked a lot about it, and I know we even remember we had our big Mike on from from Not Your Average Podcast in the 716, and he was talking a lot of shit about Edmonds and stuff like that. He was a great linebacker, and I know that we drafted him and we developed him and brought him along. The bag that he got, we couldn't have given him, period. And nor should a lot of Bills Mafia Nickel City crew, nor should you wanted to give him $50 million guaranteed. I'm sorry, not for a middle linebacker. It's just not where the money is allocated anymore. So we'll see Dotson and we'll see some other guys get their opportunities as we approach training camp in the summer. As we wrap up, it's interesting as we're talking about the draft. Draft's coming up next month. Like I said, we'll still break a little bit. We're still decompressing. Don't judge me and DT. We went through a hard season, but again, we're happy to be back with you guys. Season 3, episode 1. What are we looking for, DT, as we come up to the draft next week? Because I'm an avid WGR listener, and Jeremy White, he's got the train, and everybody's got to get their ticket and get on the wide receiver train or not. I'm on it. I'm in the first class. They've been serving me soups and bringing me appetizers and shit, and I already ordered my meal. They cooking my steak now. I'm right in the front car of the wide receiver train. I want one. I would prefer one round 1. But I also heard that there's not really, too many round one grades, for these wide receivers. So if the best ones are gone early by the 15th, 18th pick, then you might as well wait till second round, maybe address another need that you have if you think you have one that's more pressing. What do you think about the Bills coming up next month? I know we'll talk about it as well as we approach the draft, but I'm on the wide receiver train, DT. I'm not getting off. I'm with Jeremy White. I'm with those guys on the wide receiver train. Give Josh more weapons. Deontay Hardy does not mean you don't draft a receiver. Like, come on. Keep adding to the cupboard. The Kansas City Chiefs never think that way. The best teams never think that. I mean, Cincinnati, they don't think that way. More weapons. Let's surround our quarterback with the best possible options for him on every single drop rack.
Yeah, and Connor McGovern really I was kind of on the offensive line train because of, how the year ended and how brutal that line looked. And, knowing how important 17 is and protecting him. And if that line played like that, you might as well have had anybody back there. It didn't matter,
Right.
So
Right.
I was on the offensive line train and then I started to, all right, Spencer Brown's going to have a full offseason. He didn't last year. Deion Dawkins is going to be stepping up. We get Connor McGovern. Bates will be back. Mitch Morse was huge when he was on the field. So it's like, all right, the offensive line might not be in its worst shambles as I thought. So yeah, I'm definitely on the weapon side. I like the conservative approach. So don't reach if it's not there. 15, 16, 17. Wait, and you do have to address the linebacker situation. I think for sure. Not necessarily doesn't have to be the first round, but there is some decent first round talent that you could be getting, at 27, So the guy from Clemson, I forget his name.
I haven't dug in, man. I haven't dug in.
Guy
I
from
lean
Clemson,
on you guys, man.
kind of and Jack Campbell is the guy from Iowa. And Jack Campbell really reminds me just a Tremaine Edmonds type player. He's got that size, got that speed, and the guy from Clemson's pretty good too. So I haven't dug too much into the receiver train. We'll see if
I'm hearing that
I'm not mad if they pick a receiver. I'll say that, but I think you do gotta address the middle linebacker situation. And if these two guys are there, a lot of teams are paying $50 million for their middle linebacker. They're probably not drafting one in the first round, so we might have our first pick at those guys. So that's kind of where I'm at currently on the draft talk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm what I'm hearing from wide receivers, just from WGR and other people that I listen to, is just that it's not, it's not like top heavy. It's not a lot of blue chips. You know what I mean? So it could be, Jackson Smith and Jigba, maybe Jordan Addison, maybe like one other guy who really deserves a first round grade. So when you think of it that way, 27, you're probably not getting a sniff at any of those guys anyway. So if there's another need that you feel that you have to fill, I'm at this point, I'm ready to back off a little bit. If they do go defense, if it's defensive tackle or if it's linebacker like you're talking about, I think I'll let off of that a little bit and then wait for the second round. But I want Zay Flowers in the second round, or whoever. Yeah. I want whoever it is. Second, I mean, you can pick two receivers for all I care, because even with the Hardy contract, it's not a situation where I just think that you should just stop. And I'm hoping that they don't think that. I know that some Bills fans are worried about that, but DT, surround Josh with weapons, man. Like you said a couple episodes ago, like you're almost ready to say F the defense. Like I'm almost ready to say fuck the defense too. Like I really don't care in that respect, because but I have an ulterior motive. I want everything on my head coach that everybody continues to tell me that I'm supposed to kiss his feet. So I want everything on him. I want all the responsibility on him. And it's very, very conspicuous to me that Leslie Frazier said that I'm going to just back away, but then made it known that I'm not retiring, which means that he's backing away from something. We were talking about it at the barbershop, and I thought of you, and I was like, y'all got to listen to Nickel City Crew. I'm like, my boy DT, my co-host, was already on it. Like, something's going on here. He wants to back away from the Bills and from the defense. It's for a reason. Now, obviously, we know that it obviously couldn't have been just, you had, thought about the fact that it could maybe be for Edmonds and Poyer and then not coming back. So obviously we know it's not that, because we got Poyer coming back. I think that he's stepping away from responsibility again, because he's catching so many arrows. So I want everything to be on Coach McDermott. It's on his defense. I'm looking for Ken Dorsey to take ownership of the offense and have a little bit more creativity, because it seemed a little bit of vanilla last year, and Josh Allen put on the cape a little bit too much for my liking. And I know that you felt the same way, and a lot of Bills Mafia, a lot of Nickel City Crew felt the same way, DT. So as we approach the draft, Surround Josh with talent. Do not waste it. I just don't want to waste him, DT. That's my only fear. That's what I told my buddy from high school that's an Eagles fan yesterday. We were going back and forth, and I just said, I just don't want to waste time with him. And I think we're getting dangerously close. I know it's not there yet, but we're getting close. His deal kicks in this year for real. And I don't know. He's just not going to be the man forever if you're not going to protect him, plus not surround him. It just won't look the same.
Yeah, it's an easy to algorithm on paper, right? And then, you gotta get it through. In Madden, it's easy. Just load up your line, get a bunch of weapons, get Odell Beckham, and it'll make it happen. But yeah, it's impossible. You can't. It's a non-negotiable. You can't waste it because, as I said, it's not a like this is probably once in a lifetime type of quarterback that we'll see in Buffalo, and we're not. It has to happen. So whatever you got to do, and I really hope, we were saying earlier, I'm more and more on that point now. Brandon Beane has the same idea as us, right? Like I'm going to the grocery store. Here's all the stuff. You better make me a good ass dinner.
I want a gourmet meal, and I've given you every ingredient, and I'm really looking for it because eventually they're going to start questioning him. They're going to start questioning McDermott more. They'll start questioning a lot of stuff if the losing continues in the playoffs. Again, we are not so spoiled that we forget what it was like before. However, we have graduated. So again, I have encouraged Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia to graduate. It is okay to expect your Buffalo Bills to be good. They are under great leadership. The ownership supports that leadership, and I am in favor of that. However, I will not turn a blind eye to incompetence. I will not turn a blind eye to negligence in some cases that I could argue with you. 13 seconds comes to mind for negligence. You have to say something. It doesn't matter if you don't want to step on someone's toes or you don't want to ruffle feathers. Ruffle them. That's part of your job. So again, my focus is laser as we come up on 2023, and I think it's a pivotal year for not necessarily for Brandon Beane, but I know it's a pivotal year in my mind for Sean McDermott. I do. And I think it's the same for Ken Dorsey. Josh Allen is so good that if you continue to fuck up, people will look at you asking you what's wrong. And that's the whole entire point. If we continue to waste these years of him, people are going to eventually look at who's around Josh and what's around Josh, not Josh. I'm pretty sure know that Josh is not the problem. He is the solution for all of the problems that we've had and all of the things that we've wanted. We've always wanted a franchise quarterback since Jim Kelly. And this guy is on another level than Jim Kelly, athletically and time. It's 2023. It's not 1992 anymore. Don't waste this guy because eventually they're going to be looking at you.
Yeah, and time moves fast, Rob. Time moves fast. I mean, we're at year 5, going into year 6. I mean, granted,
keep it real.
Major injuries, you're probably looking at a 12 to 15 career. So you're not halfway yet, but you're creeping up on it.
Yeah, you're creeping up on it. And I just don't want to waste the opportunities because I think that we have a wonderful window right now, Von coming back. I think we just have Poyer back now. I think we just have a window, and I think we kind of need to get in that crack and at least, again, go represent the American Football Conference in the Super Bowl. I will let all of the chips fall from there. I don't really give a shit after that. I mean, I know that there will be jokes if we go 0-5. I know all of it. Go back to the Super Bowl. I'm an adult. I can go there if I feel like it, or I can throw the most epic party of all parties, DT, with you and have you come down to Charlotte or some shit. Like I can enjoy it. And I'll just let the chips fall. I want to be back in the Super Bowl. I think we're good enough to win it. You got to get there. And boy, Kansas City winning another one this year really stung. And the way that Cincinnati beat us this year really stung. And 10 points on offense, that shit really, it just stung, man. And I don't know how many more years. You can think that you have a big ass window and all of a sudden it's shut.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And this is a situation where, offensively, defensively, like you said, it's you look at the way the NFL's going and the way that, the chips fall. The best defense since the 85 Bears didn't touch with Mahomes and lost in the Super Bowl. So you're right. Receiver first round.
Oh, I mean, hey, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Just give Josh some weapons. I don't care when you get them, but get him a bunch of them. As we wrap up tonight, man, I really appreciate you, DT. Season 3, we have officially kicked off. Again, we'll take a little bit of a break, but we'll be right back at y'all, man, right before the draft, and we'll talk about it. If something crazy happens, yes, we will interrupt your regularly scheduled program, and we will come back with a crazy episode. But for now, The Bills, again, you heard the GM just the other day, Brandon Beane said we got about $9 million in space and got some rookies to sign and some draft picks to sign and all that other stuff, free agent, so we'll see how it works out for the rest of free agency. But I think that things will be a little bit quieter at One Bills Drive before the draft, and then we'll see what's up, man. They do the Lamar dirty. I know we gotta go, but they doing Lamar dirty out there, DT. I am so mad. I stayed off of Twitter now because I'm done. I'm done with Twitter for a little while, and I'm gonna let you take the account over.
You said it earlier, Rob. It's collusion. I mean, the collusion of having to put these owners are putting the foot down of listen.
They're mad at Jimmy Haslam, period. This is about Jimmy Haslam and Deshaun Watson's contract. This has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson or his ability, or I hear all this stuff about how many games he's missed and all this other shit. And I'm like, yes, you would prefer that your starting quarterback is there in the playoffs. I don't know for a fact, but as a sports bravado, I know that motherfucker could have played last year in the playoffs. There was no way that he was going to come back out there if they weren't paying him. So they hadn't paid him, so I wouldn't have let him go out there either. I don't care if it was his agent or his mama, his agent, or his uncle Ray, or who the fuck ever. I would have told my nephew the same thing. Do not go out there, DT. Do not go out there. Like they are playing this dude right now. They mad at Jimmy Haslam. They're playing him pretty hard right now.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at the NBA now, right? And these kind of the players literally run that league. I don't want to play here. Go to me a supermax somewhere else.
Oh no, the Shield is definitely gonna stand up now. The Shield is gonna stand up, DT.
That's I think what it's coming to. Like, hey, you can't just get this type of money, and we got to reset the market and get it done. But yeah, I mean, what else are they gonna do really? And their cards are already played. Lamar still has them all close to his chest, right? He can go anywhere and be a primetime player. So the Ravens have kind of already played their hand. What are they going to do? They're Tyler Huntley obviously can't cut it, and what are they going to draft? They're still late in the draft to really get anybody on that top tier.
No, I mean, if Lamar, in my opinion, and if I was in his circle, in my opinion, I would wait all the way till whatever it is, the week 10 or week 13 to make sure that I get my accrued year, so they can't franchise me again and act like this year never happened. But I wouldn't play. I really wouldn't play. If I got it financially and I can afford it, I wouldn't play on the non-exclusive tender, which is again about $15 million under the other franchise tag tender. So he was supposed to get 47 on the exclusive. Then they gave him the non-exclusive because they had already sent out the text messages, because these owners run the league and they talk, and they are not going to do it on the regular phone, but I'm sure they have burner phones. Are you kidding? They have burner accounts. They talk to each other. They are billionaires. They said, fuck Jimmy. We are not giving out another. Don't any of you give out a contract all guaranteed again. Don't do it. And we'll deal with Jimmy when we get a chance to deal with Jimmy. And that's exactly what's happened to Lamar. So it's just sad. Again, I feel bad for Poyer for not getting the bag that he thought, or maybe Drew Rosenhaus thought he'd get. But I'm happy he's back in Buff, man. This is a ruthless league, DT. It's a ruthless league.
Yeah, 100%. We gotta and to go get it. You gotta be ruthless. You gotta.
I guess they would be billionaires.
You gotta get the guys. You gotta get the players, and So
I guess they would be billionaires if they didn't have some Gordon Gekko in them. So I guess that's how it goes. But I appreciate it, man. As always, Nickel City Crew, spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with a Go Bills, DT, as we exit season 3.
Go Bills.
Episode
Go
1.
Bills. Offseason. Let's go.
We made it.